You know, people often come to me and say, life feels unbearable. The suffering, the chaos, the uncertainty is too much. I just want a way out. And the truth is this: there is no easy way out. There is no shortcut, no magic escape, no painless solution to the problems of existence. The only way out is through. Think about that for a moment. What does through mean? It means confronting the very thing you fear. It means standing face to face with the dragon that terrifies you instead of turning away. Because when you turn away, when you avoid the truth, the suffering compounds. The monster doesn't shrink, it grows in the darkness. When people encounter suffering, their instinct is almost always to look for an escape. It's natural. Pain hurts. Chaos is terrifying. Uncertainty is paralyzing. And when crushed beneath the weight of all three, the mind whispers, Find a way out. Find something, anything, that will take this feeling away. In a culture like ours, there is no shortage of escape routes, substances, distractions, endless entertainment, shallow relationships, denial, nihilism. All of these present themselves as quick doors out of suffering. But those doors don't lead out at all. They lead deeper in, though more subtly. Because the suffering doesn't vanish when avoided. It ferments, compounds, and waits in the dark, returning stronger and more overwhelming than before. The great lie of life is that suffering can be escaped without paying the price. But life doesn't allow such bargains. Reality is relentless. Attempting to circumvent suffering through avoidance merely delays the confrontation, and in doing so, makes that confrontation worse. The chaos refused today becomes the catastrophe faced tomorrow. The sorrow denied now becomes the despair that consumes later. The anxiety numbed today grows into a monster that devours the soul. There is something profound in the structure of being that insists upon truth. Existence seems organized around the principle. Lies, avoidance, and shortcuts may work in the short term, but they wrote the foundation upon which one stands. Sooner or later, the collapse comes. A stable life cannot be built on the illusion that suffering can be escaped. Meaning cannot be constructed on the foundation of avoidance. The only way to move forward, the only way to grow, to redeem despair, is through the suffering, not around it. Consider the nature of growth. Every significant transformation requires passing through difficulty, not bypassing it. The child becomes an adult by struggling with responsibility, not by fleeing it. Wisdom emerges from encountering error, tragedy, and limitation, not from avoiding harsh realities. Even in small things, the principle holds. Muscles strengthen under pressure. Knowledge deepens by wrestling with confusion. Courage emerges when fear is felt and action proceeds anyway. These are forged through suffering. Heroes as myth and story illustrate this. The hero never achieves greatness by finding a shortcut. He doesn't escape the dragon's lair through a hidden door. He doesn't leapfrog over the trial. He doesn't ascend the throne without first enduring exile and wandering the desert. Every meaningful story, from ancient myth to modern narrative, insists on the same point. The hero's journey requires descent into chaos, suffering, and the unknown. In that confrontation, transformation occurs. Stories mirror life. because they reflect deep truths about existence. Why is it structured this way? Perhaps because without suffering, we would remain weak, shallow, unformed. Without it, there is no depth, no appreciation of beauty, no understanding of joy, no compassion. The inescapability of suffering grants life seriousness and weight. If everything could be achieved without cost, nothing would have value. If meaning required no sacrifice, it would not be meaning. Suffering is not merely an obstacle, it is the condition through which meaning emerges. Avoiding suffering trades short term comfort for long term despair, sacrificing growth at the altar of fleeting relief. Avoidance does not reduce suffering, it multiplies it, transforming something potentially redemptive into something destructive. Consider grief. Refusing to face it, burying, hiding, numbing, may seem to work for a while, but grief lingers in the subconscious, infects relationships, emerges as unexpected anger, bitterness, or detachment. Unprocessed suffering corrodes from within, yet facing grief honestly, walking through it, though it may break one temporarily, yields new depth, compassion, and capacity for love. The only way out of grief is through grief. The same holds for fear. Avoidance magnifies it, shrinking the world and making life fragile. Voluntary confrontation shrinks fear. The person grows larger than the fear, reclaiming lost territory. The illusion of escape is a trap. The search for shortcuts leads nowhere. The promise of a painless path is a lie. To move forward and become who one is capable of being, one must walk into the storm, not around it. Take your responsibility willingly, knowing it will hurt, and also knowing that within that hurt lies the seed of transformation. The only way out of suffering, out of chaos, despair, and confusion is through. This is not merely harsh, it's a hopeful. Even in the darkest suffering, there is a path forward. One is never trapped permanently. The way is narrow and demanding, but the door is open for those who step through with the eye wide open, carrying their burden. Across a human life, the avoided does not disappear, it accumulates. The more avoidance, the more fragile one becomes. Avoidance feels safe short term, but it erodes strength, making one smaller, weaker, and less prepared. Strength emerges through direct confrontation, not its absence. Courage develops by facing fear head on. Resilience grows by voluntarily engaging with difficulty. The human spirit, like the body, strengthens under stress. Muscles grow when toned down and rebuilt. Character grows when tested by chaos, pain, and responsibility. Remove confrontation, and the conditions for strength are removed. Overprotection illustrates this. A child shielded from all difficulty may seem spared, but later crumbles before real world failure, pain, and responsibility. The spirit is brittle because never tested. Avoidance removes not just the problem but the opportunity to grow. Conversely, confronting fears, even in small increments, reveals unexpected strength and capacity to bear. Each transformation expands one's ability to deal with reality, building resilience and stability. This is not abstract philosophy, it's psychological fact. Exposure strengthens, avoidance weakens. Anxiety shrinks through voluntary exposure, which teaches the nervous system survivability. Over time, fear loses its grip. Responsibility follows the same law. It can be avoided, feeling lighter briefly, but life will not stay light. Ignored duties manifest as chaos. Broken relationships financial ruin, wasted potential, spiritual emptiness. The cost of avoidance grows until unbearable. But taking on responsibility voluntarily strengthens under pressure. And in that strength, meaning is found. Responsibility is not a curse, it anchors in a chaotic world. Avoidance breeds weakness, teaching incapability and fragility. Confrontation breeds strength, sending the message, I can do this. Those messages accumulate over time. Small acts of courage transforms a person into someone capable of bearing great responsibility, enduring profound suffering, and living meaningfully. Mythology again shows the pattern. The call to adventure is resisted, the temptation of avoidance, and the false belief that safety lies in staying put. But the hero must confront the dragon, the monster, the chaos. By doing so, he gains immeasurable value, strength, wisdom, treasure, transformation. If the dragon is avoided, it grows. The same applies across life. Marriages deepen when conflict is confronted honestly. Careers advance when challenges are taken on. Souls mature when suffering and tragedy are faced rather than numbed or denied. At every level, avoidance weakens, confrontation strengthens. This is the inescapable structure of reality. Crucially, confrontation is voluntary. True strength cannot be forced, it must be chosen, especially when every fiber wants to turn away. That voluntary act of courage transforms, not merely surviving, but choosing to engage, revealing who one could become. Life will bring difficulty. The choice is whether to avoid it and grow weaker or confront it and grow stronger. The cumulative effect of these choices determines the trajectory of a life. Run, and one becomes brittle, resentful, trapped. Confront, and one becomes resilient, courageous, capable, free. Life is hard, unbearably at times. But there is a path that leads to weakness and despair, and another to strength and meaning. Avoidance breeds weakness. Confrontation breeds strength. The more confrontation is chosen, the more capable one becomes of carrying the great burden of existence without collapse. The path of growth and transformation. Problems ignored do not vanish, they fester, growing in complexity and menace. Monsters are born through repeated act of avoidance that let small problems mature into chaos. Unopened bills become crushing debt. Unspoken wounds poison relationships. Neglected ambition hardens into despair. The dragon hoards treasure. The terrifying problem guards immense value. Refuse to confront it and it grows, terrorizing the village, just as problems expand when left in the shadows. Chaos is not passive. It expands in proportion to refusal to face it. The monster grows in the dark because truth, attention, and honesty are the weapons that keep chaos contained. Daring to look directly at a problem deprives it of nourishment. Naming fear and resentment drags them into the light, where they are smaller than imagined. Pretending otherwise grants them unlimited power to expand. Reality denied retaliates in the form of debt, illness, addiction, despair, far more destructive than the original problem. Facing reality is frightening, but far less so than the consequences of refusal. The harsh structure is merciful. The way forward is always available. Shine the light, face the truth, drag the monster out. It may wound and scar, But the alternative is worse. Thus, don't turn away. Don't leave things in the shadows. Avoidance won't save. The monster grows in the dark, but shrinks under attention. Face it while manageable, and not only prevent its growth, but discover inner strength previously unknown. Confrontation defeats the monster and transforms the person into someone capable of facing greater challenges. Therein lies meaning. Practically, life is difficult and suffering is baked into existence. The instinct to escape is a trap. Running shrinks the self. Denial leads to decay. Hiding lets a monster grow until they consume everything. The alternative, though frightening, is far greater. Stand up and confront what terrifies. Take responsibility voluntarily. Tell the truth. Then growth occurs, becoming capable of bearing suffering without collapse, creating order out of chaos, and living a life with weight and meaning. The path is narrow and steep, and it hurts, but it is the only path that leads upward. The only way out of suffering, fear, and chaos is through them. Through voluntary confrontation, responsibility, and courage, chosen day after day, step by step. This path leads not just to survival, but transcendence, discovering strength, depth, and capability beyond previous imagination. So remember, in despair, there is no easy way out, but there is always a way forward. The only way out is through, lived seriously. This not only redeems personal suffering, but turns a person into a source of strength for others. The highest aim, to bear the burden so truthfully that the world is made, even in a small way, a better place. Thank you for listening. Come and walk with us and unleash the Yodha within by joining Yodha movement. If you felt connected to the message, then subscribe and like and share the link with the soul which you feel needs to hear this. Keep shining and God bless you. May you become the best version of yourself in the coming moment. Unleash the Yodha within. We really need people like you. Don't give up on yourself ever. Leave the comment if you want to say something. I will revert personally. It's Aadil Chahal, your friend and brother, who's walking the same path as you are. Keep shining. God bless you. Stay connected.